I believe in you.
We've only been doing this for well over a year. Welcome back, everybody, to Obstacle Discourse with Davis and Chase, where your safety is our number one priority. I'm your host, Matt B. Davis. With me always, Josh Chace.
Hey, pal, you crushed that one. Finally.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Well, Josh, once again, so much happens in such a short time. We always think we're going to be short on content, and then so much happens in OCR land, even without races being run.
Yeah, it's dead time for actual racing right now, but there is no shortage of news. And we even just got memed just a few minutes ago.
Oh, is it which one? The Abu Dhabi one?
The Abu Dhabi one and the trail one.
Shit. Well, something was shared in Discord about the link to the Zendesk. I didn't see the Spartan Trail meme.
So it's on the Spartan Trail Instagram, and it is a little logo of a spinning Earth, and it's a video that says 7 World Championship races, 4 continents, 250 grand up for grabs, locations revealed soon.
I'm watching it now. There's a globe spinning. Knowing Spartan, it's probably spinning the wrong way. Are you old enough to remember that? NBC Nightly News?
I mean, I'm old enough to remember NBC Nightly News, but was there a place where they had the globe spinning the wrong way?
Yeah, Google it later. Pretty sure it was NBC. Might have been another network. Google it later, not now. But this is back before people got called out on every single thing they do online. And so it was just like, hey, a couple of people in the science department emailed us. Turns out the globe has been spinning the wrong way in our opening logo. You know, one of those news things. Are you Googling it now? You better not be.
I'm not Googling it. I'm reading the memes. Jeez.
So I actually did hear from one Josue Stevens, who's in charge of that program. And he said, we've got some announcements coming. Let's get on a call. And I said, great. And again, like I try to keep by my embargo rules so I don't say anything. And then boom, a meme comes out. So anyway, hopefully I can find out more. Everyone knows I'm a huge Spartan Trail honk. I look forward to doing more this year. Where do you want to start, Josh? You want to start with – I think we should start with the biggest one. I think we should start with the official Abu Dhabi announcement happened. We've guessed it for many months. It's been linked. It's been leaked 2 or 3 times. So it was not news to anyone. Yet for some reason, we can talk about this, Josh. Why did you want to go so bad? Why were you debating it even up until the day before? What did you think? Did you really think they were going to sneak in like an ultra announcement?
I actually did. I thought you're putting together this press conference. It wasn't a press conference. It was just Joe talking at a mic. Silly me. I thought that they were going to do like an official thing with an intro and a kickoff video and like a production. It was none of that. It was just Joe standing in front of a $180 backdrop, and his announcement was he didn't even make the announcement. Like, that's the part that kills me. He was just like, so I never thought I'd be up here standing in front of this banner. Got Abu Dhabi on it. Like, that was his, like, there was no pomp and circumstance, as they call it. There was no hoopla. There was no pizzazz.
But Josh, this is where I say, is this your first day?
Well, no, it's not. But you know what? That doesn't mean that they should just mail it in. This is arguably the biggest news from Spartan in the last, I'll say 5 years, right? What bigger announcement have we seen? There's been plenty of them than moving the World Championship to Abu Dhabi.
All right. Well, okay. There are certain things that, unfortunately, Spartan hasn't been great at, and communication is probably number one. So just to put this in context, we're talking about DECA, which we're going to get to on this call. Might it be awesome? Might it be just okay? Like the jury's out. However, I can 100% guarantee you that any press conference they put on is going to go exactly like that one, because I've seen Tahoe's every year. I was in Greece recently. Like, it's not news that this really isn't there. It's not something they really knock out of the park.
Well, I guess I was hoping for something a little bit more. I was hoping at least
Are you
for,
really glad that I spared you the 5-hour minimum drive both ways?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so.
I mean, you could have had like a selfie with Joe, and the swag bag was apparently nifty. Chris Stevens sent me some photos of the swag bag. So we might be giving that away to a listener.
Oh, look at us.
He suggested Patreon member, but I'm just thinking out loud here, maybe. But I want to get to the important part, which is the hatred being shown down on the Middle East. And I want to start with this idea of they're so oppressive against women, and they're so anti-gay. And I want to ask many of you how often you enjoy a delicious sandwich from Chick-fil-A. When Chick-fil-A first came out.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Matt. You're going to do the thing that everybody does, aren't you?
When Chick-fil-A first came out, I really wanted to not go there. I really did. Because, how could I? Their owners, like, I'm old and I hate the gays. And I couldn't do it. They're too delicious. And, this extends to pretty much anything that you ever buy, right? Nike, Apple, like every company has questionable fucking decisions they make. And I know you're not living off the grid, only purchasing from fucking local farmers. So go fuck yourself. That's kind of what I wanted to say. Is that what you thought I was going to say when I said what everybody does?
Well, no, you were doing the thing where, like, if I post something on social media that's like, support climate initiatives, blah, 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 somebody will go, well, you still fly in airplanes, so how can you really
I don't know why that struck me as so funny.
So listen, we all?
I'm not going to say you can't be a vegan and wear a leather coat. That's not where I was going.
Right. But listen, you can always do better, but you don't have to go to the extreme. And but is Chick-fil-A an extreme? That's a delicious chicken sandwich. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're okay. They're sort of overrated. Their honey mustard is better than everybody else's, though. I'll give them that.
I can tell you, my kids are big fans of the Chick-fil-A sauce and the Polynesian sauce. My children.
The Polynesian sauce is also really good. So if there's anything that this announcement proved, it's that ignorance and lunacy is still.
Stacey just walked in. Stacey Davis. Say hi to Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, Stace.
What did you say to me, honey?
What are you guys talking about? Chick-fil-A?
So I was just talking about how Spartan's going to the Middle East, and everybody's like, they hate gays. You can't dress how you want. They're oppressive to women. And I'm like, if you really believe that, why don't you like stop, buying Chick-fil-A sandwiches because they hate the gays?
Oh, right. So does Hobby Lobby. Hey,
that Hobby Lobby too?
They're worse. Is that a quilt behind you? Did somebody make that?
Yes, my girlfriend's sister crafted this quilt and took not only like the shirt logos, but also like the headbands are the outlier. And then she did this thing in the middle that has the pins on the US of where all the races were from the shirts. She's a talented one. That's
amazing. I definitely appreciate artistic stuff. That's very cool.
Thank you for noticing, Stacey, because I've done a dozen episodes with Matt here and he hasn't complimented it once.
All right. Wow.
All right.
Well, I've seen a Spartan quilt or two because everyone posts, what you do with my old shirts? And everyone's like, do a fucking quilt.
It's cool. All right. As you were. Bye.
Bye.
Stacey Davis, ladies and gentlemen.
So, as I was saying, if this announcement has proved anything, it's that misinformation, ignorance, little bit of lunacy is just rampant everywhere today. So listen, the United Arab Emirates, and by the way, props to Cherie for explaining exactly what that means.
Right?
There are things there that are very different from our culture here, and you can read about them all you want. One of them is homosexuality is illegal and is a crime that can be, and as I understand it, as I've read, it doesn't make me an expert, but I've tried to read up on it because if we're going to talk about it, I should know about it, can be punished by death, which is a little archaic if you think about it. There are scenarios where things like public displays of affection are frowned upon and considered discourteous. Now, that's a culture thing, right? To us in the United States, we can hump each other at the bus stop and nobody cares. You can go to Barstool's Instagram and probably see that right now. To them, it's discourteous and it's discouraged. Is that a bad thing? No, it's just they live a more conservative lifestyle. That's not terrible. You know, the thing about women being treated differently and women having to, not speak directly with men and not look men in the eyes and having different sections on buses and public transportation where they sit, or not being allowed onto certain public transport, or not being allowed to step in an Uber by themselves. Those are real concerns, and people are not wrong to voice their opinion that this is bad and they won't go. But guess what? Don't go then. Like that's fine. You don't want to go, you don't have to go. The best way you can speak out against something is not by posting on Facebook, it's by acting with your wallet. So if you don't want to go, then don't go. But you don't have to say it, right? You want to justify why on your own page, whatever, that's fine. But like, we're past the point of everybody being upset. First off, people were shocked that this wasn't a Tough Mudder announcement, which is really funny to me. I don't know where they've been living under a Spartan rock for the last year. But it's in Abu Dhabi, right? Joe's all on board with it. The guy's got his Falcon and Camel just ready to rock. He's going to be riding in dune buggies, sitting on the ground, eating all kinds of local food and flair. I think in terms of an experience, like the way Cherie was explaining it, it should be a phenomenal experience, right? Building all these and hell, if there's anything that will come out of this, it's that Spartan ramps up their game for customer experience at the World Championship, because there is money in droves over there. And if they're going to go build their own running paths, they're going to build a village with these massive tents, they're going to have fireworks. If you've never seen like fireworks out of like Dubai, everything is ramped up to the tens there. So is this going to be some spectacular, big event with all this hoopla and all this pizzazz? Yeah, probably. But there is all that other stuff. And that's up to you as a person to decide if it's worth it for you to go have this great experience at a Spartan event, or stand by your morals and not go. That's up to you, right?
Well, my goal is to help dispel myths, get to facts. So I will be having at least one man and at least one woman who live over there on a podcast soon to speak about this and to answer those questions. Men and women staying together, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully we'll be able to get some more truth out there, and not just, now listen, you said it's over. People are going to have this argument for 100 years because people are going to figure it out, right?
Yep.
People are going to be like, hey, I just heard it's going to be over there. Does anyone have any questions about this? It's going to keep coming up until it happens, until it's over. So,
I mean, for me, right, we have pro athletes in our sport that are gay, that are lesbian, and for them, I would be truly concerned, and I wouldn't expect them to go over there. So those scenarios are valid concerns and valid conversations. But beyond that, it's like the stuff that if you just don't agree with the way their culture works, that's a whole different thing altogether, right?
Okay, I just remembered a note about something, so I'm sending a quick text. Okay. So I would like to I want to get to Super Bowl stuff because I know there's people who certainly don't care, and that's fine. You don't have to. But I'm
Do
kind
you want to talk Deck and Fit before Super Bowl?
no.
Okay.
I
tried, folks. You can't blame me.
Well, how about this? How about we'll go to another OCR topic and then we'll go. I don't want to go straight Spartan, an hour of Spartan talk.
Okay.
Did you notice that the Stadium Blitz has been renamed thanks to a title sponsor?
Yes. What is it? The Monster Energy Stadium Bash Blitz.
It is now the Monster Hydro, not just Monster, but Monster Hydro Stadium Blitz with a new logo. Now,
New logo. Shout out to all my Hydro homies out there. And if you know what that means, good for you. If you don't.
I don't, but I gotta say, I feel like anytime you get any sort of traction with brand and logo, it's tough to change. I guess it's early enough that it doesn't matter, except for the fact that if this contract ends in a year, then you got to go back to something else.
Yeah, the title, although Reebok Spartan Race was a thing for a long time. So,
well, that was a 5-year deal because Spartan, they were pretty sure Spartan wasn't going anywhere. And it still wasn't, I don't think Instagram ever changed. They certainly didn't change the Spartan logo. They threw Reebok under it. And maybe on some of those shirts it says that, but let's stay with Hydro Blitz, buddy.
Okay.
It seems a little wonky, but I mean, it could be fine. I don't know.
It is a little weird to change your branding this early in the game, but when a sponsor like Monster comes calling, right, and you make that agreement, then that's something you jump at. It makes a ton of sense with names like the Gronkowski brothers or the Gronkowski family at this point on this event. I don't know. We saw Stadium Blitz last year, a couple of their events at least. They seem relatively low-key. Is this going to project them into, the competitive space with OCR, or is this still going to keep them as a weekend fun run, that you do at a local college stadium? I still don't see them breaking into like NFL stadiums. The money to do something like that is probably just stupidly expensive.
Have they launched any more venues since this big announcement?
Not that I'm aware of, but there's still a TBD next to New England.
But it's also like a color change. Like they have this sweet little kind of orange logo, which now you're gonna have to change on Discord, by the way.
Damn it.
And Florida, Doak Campbell Stadium, FSU. That's next weekend. Arizona Sun Devil Stadium, the 29th. And that's it. So
no, they just announced Ohio State the other day too. So they're going to be at Ohio State Stadium in April.
Wait, we got a few. Hang on, we got a few. Gerald Ford Stadium, SMU. Ohio State, April 18th. 25th, Kansas. Ooh. 20th.
So they got some big name colleges.
All right, so they're up until May 2nd. But again, New England TBD, Colorado TBD, like 5 or 6 other TBDs. If you want to sell tickets, like announcing it a month before, not really ideal.
And when you say like New England, that could be like most people when they see this, they think football stadium, New England. Oh, I might go get to run a Gillette, and they go register for it. When in reality, they could do like Yale Stadium in Connecticut or something. So
Amherst.
we don't. Right, UMass Amherst, whatever that stadium is. They could do Harvard. They probably won't, hopefully. They could do BU Stadium, like any of these. So I'm registered. Why the crap not? It's new. It was cheap, so I might as well give it a whirl. It's something different, and might as well.
There's not a date. It just says free TBD.
Yeah. So more to come. Hashtag stay tuned, maybe.
Great for them. Good job getting a big sponsor. Now how about announce some actual fucking dates and venues so you can sell some tickets?
Right. And they've got, if their target is the college space, like they've got some legit stadiums in here. Like if you can lock up FSU, Ohio State, Kansas, like those are legit places. So those are wins. Now they just need more.
But just because like, oh, it's on a college campus, I'm sure all the kids will go is not a sales, is not a marketing strategy.
It's half of. It's a portion of.
I don't.
It's a
think
percentage
so.
of. It's obviously their target market.
Well, is it, or is it just the venues? I mean, is your phone buzzing? Stop it.
Oh, Jesus, calm down. That was like one beep.
It was two.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's going to be their target market, right? It's that high energy, come and have fun. It's the Gronks, like that makes sense to me. Or they're early 20-something.
You still got to do a lot of work. You can't just throw it up on a fucking flyer at the school in the quad and expect people to show up. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Okay. Now we can talk about DECA.
Okay.
And then we can talk about the Super Bowl.
You want to take it?
About DECA?
Yeah.
Well, as luck would have it, I was ending my Super Bowl trip, stayed close to the airport the night before I flew back. And Ricky and I had talked about getting together, maybe going for a run. And so we're enjoying our coffee and our meal. And we were like, hey, there's an announcement. Let's go live, kind of like you and I did. You and I being Josh and I. We were confused. Were you confused? Oh, sorry, you just took a bite.
I just took a bite. Sorry.
Sorry about that. Is that pho? What are you eating there?
Nope, just some leftover pasta, chicken, broccoli.
Oh, I couldn't quite tell.
Everything a healthy body needs.
Were you confused?
I was confused. So it obviously was a kickoff event.
Which I can't compare to the actual event.
Right.
People got mad at me.
Why would you? No, forget it. So it was a kickoff event. And so this is how much effort I put into it. Matt probably puts minimal amounts of effort, but this is what I did.
You have the minimal amount of my attention. Excuse me? You have the minimal amount.
The rest of my attention is back at the office of Facebook, where my team is doing things you haven't even thought about yet.
Wow. Look at Josh.
Did I adequately answer your condescending question?
Wow. Look at Josh.
That's a great scene. I love that scene. I can't wait to stand over you and watch you write us a check. No shit. What a great movie. If you haven't seen The Social Network, go watch it. You might hate Zuckerberg, but man, it's a great movie.
Well, and here's the thing. Quick sidebar. It is not a factual account of what happened. And that is okay, because some broad strokes are there, and it's phenomenal writing by the best writer we've ever had, maybe?
Probably.
One of the best writers of dialogue we've ever had. And some solid performances.
And a phenomenal soundtrack if you're into Nine Inch Nails, or at least Trent Reznor.
And yeah, it's totally rewatchable and good. And if you watch the honest trailers about it, which I'm really in love with these days, it's gave us Jesse Eisenberg for the next 10 years as weird characters, because we're like, right?
Yeah, I just caught him in Zombieland 2. Also a great movie.
Zombieland 2 Double Tap, theaters near you.
So getting back to DECA. So they held an announcement, a kickoff party, a soiree, a gala, if you will. One of those things where they invite a bunch of people and they talk. And I'm watching Yancey's story live, and somebody else's was live, so I was popping back and forth between the two. And presumably they did a little bit of an announcement. Yancey must have spoke, because I didn't see him because I was watching through his phone. And then they brought up a military guy who talked about his story being in a fighter jet, shooting off flares when he was shot with a missile and things like that. Stuff that I didn't know why it was there, to be honest. And then they just did a little, chit chat afterwards, Q&A session. That's what I was looking for. So I go to Instagram, and here's a tip. If you ever want to see things that are happening, like on the global scale, right? On Instagram, you can go search a location, and then anybody that tagged that location, you can look at their stories and things like that. So I went to the location, the Denver Broncos like practice facility. So I pull it up, and there's stories around it, and I go and I'm looking, and there's a whole bunch of influencers that were there. So Spartan invited a bunch of influencers and bloggers, right? We've talked about this before. It's ways to get the word out. Hey guys, so happy to be invited to the Spartan Deca Fit announcement. Deca Fit's this great event. There's 10 workout stations. It's for everybody. Check it out on my blog, right? So a bunch of those people were there. Local gym people, CrossFitters, SGX coaches, all that stuff. And then they went and did a sample workout. Now, this Q&A was in the Denver Broncos practice facility. Multi-billion-dollar building. You got the field. You got all the branding, all this great stuff. So what did they do? Instead of holding the mock workout, the mock Deca Fit workout there, they put it in a Kmart down the street.
Wait a minute. Hang on. I thought Kmart was a joke we were saying on Discord for it being just sort of this empty, vast thing.
Matt.
That happened?
That's not a joke. They actually hosted the first Deca Fit workout inside of an abandoned Kmart.
And why? And what was the reasoning?
I don't know. I don't know. It was in a Kmart.
The Broncos were busy with their we're not at the Super Bowl thing.
I don't know.
I honestly thought it was a joke.
No, it was not a joke. It was actually held in a Kmart, and Yancey was there following people along like Yancey does.
How far did we have to walk from the center?
I don't know. And
just quick note, everybody. I was invited, which I appreciated, but it was just a bit much, right? I was just at DECA, then I was down in Miami. It was just too much to go just for a day for one event. I'm going to definitely be there for the kickoff event. I'm excited about the kickoff event. We'll get to that. Not the kickoff event, the first actual event. We'll get to that. But yes, I was invited as an influencer media type person. I mean, I don't call myself that ever, but you get my point. If you think like, why wouldn't they invite Matt? They did, and I had to turn them down, unfortunately.
You're just not a team player, I guess.
Yeah. For me to fly for just one night, it would have to be something pretty amazing. If I'm trying to think of what I would fly across the country for just one night for.
Just send me, bro. I'll go for you.
All right. Well, just, sometimes I do. I think I do ask you sometimes and you say no for things.
No, Molly and I have this thing we're doing. I can't make it.
Oh, I'm Ryan Atkins now. I'm trying to find the nearest Kmart practice facility. What have I done with my life? 10 miles away somewhere. I don't know if that's the one or not, but yeah. So they hold out a Kmart in or around Denver, Colorado, and Deca Fit coming in March.
Do you have any other initial thoughts?
I don't. I mean, most of them would be negative, so I'll just keep them to myself, I guess.
Well, listen,
not negative, but like my biggest thought, and I talked about this on the Discord, is let me get a rundown. Apologies for all of the wasted time, but let me get a quick rundown of the workouts. Do you have the workouts handy?
So I definitely wanted to talk about this portion, and I want to ask you your thoughts. So while you're looking, I'm going to just go ahead and talk about it. So
okay. I have it.
Okay, so I want to go straight to my favorite workout, though. I want to go straight to pregnant mommy balls. Okay.
What Deca zone is that?
You did not. So in the moment of seeing this on the phone, Ricky showed me. By the way, quick shout out, Ricky from Discord. If you have an opportunity to spend some time with that guy, solid guy. We had a lot of laughs. We had a good time, and we just saw it explained. We didn't actually see it, but it was like basically doing a sit up with a small medicine ball. And I said, oh, that kind of sounds like the kind of workouts they do for like at the Y with pregnant women. And then we saw it, and it actually was that. It's this little target that you're essentially doing a sit-up and pushing against. And in reality, it even more looks like a pregnant woman exercise. And I was calling it pregnant mommy balls, and I expect that phrase to take off. Or the pregnant mommy zone, anything as long as pregnant mommy's in there. Now, here's what both Jack and Yancey have said to me. Can I do like my every reporter ever tries to make it sound really important? I talked to these two by text, and they assured me, and they said, listen, look at that video you did for High Rocks. That's really fucking hard. 75% of America can't even do that workout. And I was like, okay. They're like, that's not a good model. You could do it, and it took you forever, and you're at least relatively in shape. But like if someone came like new to the gym, whatever, it's going to take them all day. There's no way they're going to do 100 wall balls. They'll never come back. We want to do, just let me finish. We want to do something literally for everybody, which by the way, that's even DECA's tagline, fitness for everybody. Get it? DECA's like, that's not what we're at all. We're an easier thing. Yeah, but it's too easy. Well, go faster, just like we say for a sprint. So even if the elites only take quote unquote 32 minutes, it's still super challenging, and a regular person can do it and not fucking die like I did at High Rocks, and it takes you out for 2 weeks.
Right.
So tell me, Josh, about that as a strategy, what you think about. And that's still not seeing it in action, guys. So we know we haven't seen it in action for real, but your thoughts.
Right. So the High Rocks thing, first off, right? High Rocks is an event that not everybody can complete, and that's not a way to run a business. Well, it is if your business is top tier athletic competition, right? So that's their market. DECA Fit. So I'm going to go through these workouts because not everybody might have actually heard these. So I want to read all of these.
Good idea.
Then
It's a good idea.
I'll comment. So zone 1, Spartan Ram squat, 30 reps. You get the Spartan Ram, that thing that Yancey got into the Stadion series, and you do 30 squats with it. There's a whole bunch of rules and all this stuff. Zone 2.
What defines a squat, how low you have to get?
Yeah, all that stuff. Standards, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read all that. DECA Zone 2, a 500-meter row. Okay? If you're a frequent rower, you might be able to bang that out in 2 minutes. If you're not, maybe a couple minutes more. DECA Zone 3, box jump overs. Box jump on it, jump over the other side, vice versa. You got 20 of those, 20 reps.
That was in fact a TMX workout. I don't know what the number was, but and Cassidy jumped straight over the box, and that was allowed.
Right. DECA Zone 4, med ball sit up throw. So that's the pregnant mommy. What'd you call it? Pregnant mommy balls?
Pregnant mommy balls.
Okay. Oh, by the way, 30 reps of that.
How heavy is it?
So the elite and open men are 20 pounds. The elite and open women are 14 pounds. More to come. Zone 5, 500-meter ski erg. Stole it right from High Rocks. I'm comfortable saying they stole it because
High Rock also has a 1,000-meter row. They just cut that in half. But that's that's like saying Savage stole walls from Tough Mudder. That's not
Shut up, Matt. Just let me have this.
Jesus Christ! Hot take, Josh.
So 500 meters on the ski erg, not a big deal. Again, probably the most strenuous because almost nobody's probably done a ski erg before, I'm guessing. Zone 6, 100-meter farmer's carry, 60 pounds in each hand for the men, 40 pounds in each hand for the women. Zone 7, a 20-calorie air bike. So the same thing we do at stadium races, but for 20 calories. Again, 2 minutes. Zone 8, this one's interesting. Dead wall ball overs. You pick up a medicine ball, you throw it over this tiny wall, you run around the wall, pick up the medicine ball, and throw it back over. I don't know why they're not forcing people to jump over the wall, but
that's been brought up by several people.
Yeah. Zone 9, tank push-pull. So the tank is this wheeled sled that they have that they're hawking that you get to push around. And then zone 10 is ram burpees, 20 reps. So I look at this overall workout, right? It's 10 zones. There's 500 meters of running in between every single zone. So it's half the amount of running of high rocks, right? It's 1K for high rocks in between every zone. It's a little bit more overall because there's 10 zones as opposed to 8 at high rocks. But look at these reps. You get 30 reps for a squat. Right off the bat, you're going to be fresh. It's not a big deal. A 500-meter row, 20 reps of box jumps, 30 sit-ups, 500-meter ski erg, 100-meter farmer's carry, a 20-calorie air bike. That's laughably light. 20 reps of these wall ball overs, the tank push and pull, 20 ram burpees. We were talking with Jack in Discord about this. Jack seems to think like the target time for finishers is 32 minutes. Now, that's the best athlete running as fast as possible and highly trained and highly skilled at what they do. 32 minutes. Now, you might say that this event is for everybody, but guess what? You're charging $100 for it. I can get a $100 membership to a local gym that has all this stuff and go 30 days out of the month and do this workout every single day and get a hell of a lot more value for my money than a one-time $100 workout to go do what is essentially a WOD. Somebody said it in Discord. They're like, this isn't like a cutting-edge fitness experience. It's a CrossFit WOD. So, yeah, it's for everybody. Yes, it's definitely more finishable if you're a casual athlete, but you're charging it at the same rate as a premier high-end athletic experience like High Rocks, and you're charging more than a Spartan sprint, which to me is arguably more difficult than this workout.
You know, that's really interesting because I hadn't even thought about that part of it. Yeah, because if they're saying we want to just get people off the couch, then you should make it. Are you okay? I'm words hard, speaking difficult. The concept of who wants to do this event, you're saying on the High Rock side, people looking for an intense competition, and that's why they're signing up.
Right. CrossFit athletes.
Are there people,
top-tier OCR athletes.
So are there even people that exist, is what you're saying, that want to do this if it's easier but isn't as hard?
Right. The premise of these types of athletic events is to do something that is the upper echelon of what your capability is, right? So take High Rocks.
But what if they're saying, but Joe is not saying that. Joe is saying, overall, I want to rip people off the couch, right? Isn't that what he's saying? And that's why a sprint is only 3 miles now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if that's your underlying premise, like, but the problem is if that's just your fallback to everybody's criticism of your event, then how are you going to position yourself as this worldwide global leader in obstacle sports, but also the Planet Fitness of obstacle course racing? You can't have the two. They can't exist together, right? I understand that there's always going to be the open wave. There's always going to be the everyman participation. But at the same time, if you're going to design events and you're going to position them as these incredibly difficult events, and we're going to go partner with local CrossFit gyms and all these places, those two things are very much conflicting with each other. And then you have to price it, and you can't price it for the everyman at the same price of an event like High Rocks. You have to price it differently, because when I go do that workout and I'm not going to do it in 35 minutes, but if I'm a pro athlete and I go do that workout and I'm done in 32 minutes, what's my ambition to come back and do it again? Now, they might put prize money on the line. They might go the same route as High Rocks and do this whole world record thing and payouts for people that are setting the fastest times. But if you're expecting people to show up in droves at these arenas where you're setting up this event and then come back, I don't know that they're going to see that happen. And Joe made an interesting point in one of his interviews the last couple of weeks. He's like, we're the only industry where, we have to constantly re-earn our customers' business over and over and over again. And when I think of that, I think in order to earn somebody's business back, you have to almost beat them up so much that they want to come back and say, I can do this better next time. And I don't know that you can do 20 wall balls better every single time. That's my 2 cents on it.
Well, I think you've brought up some really good points here, and I think there is even just in making the workouts there's some more gray area. Like again, Yancey and Jack's point, Matt, normal people cannot push that much fake fucking weight on a sled. Like I forget what stat they use, 75% of America, whatever the stat was. And I'm like, you're fucking right. That's hard. But like it hurt and I hated it. I still stand behind. Jack said, "Oh, pulling is worse." No way. Pushing that thing was the hardest, whatever it was, 18 minutes of my life. It felt like an hour. I was dying. Every time I pushed it a foot, it felt like 5 feet. And then I looked back and it had only been a foot and I was dying. Anyway, why not make the calories a little bit more? Why not do a few more RAM burpees? Like just up it a little bit. And you can still have both. And maybe they will, right? Maybe they're going to do this and realize, okay, we've missed the boat here. We haven't beta tested this enough, and that's totally fine. There is going to be prize money, but will that be enough to get people to go? Especially when, again, even in your own series, you've already divided up people who want to just go hardcore stadium, right? A stadium racer is probably not going to do an ultra beast, right?
Right.
So if you're doing that, which I don't think is wrong necessarily, finding something kind of for everybody, but now, I forgot, I think Ricky said this, that you've got DECA, Stadium, and City now, 3 sort of beginner events plus the sprint. Maybe it's a bit much. And maybe Joe's got the finances to go, you know what? We're going to throw shit and see what sticks. So, which is sort of what Gary Vee says, speed over everything. Like try, fails, great, learn, move on, collect data, move on. Like that's fine too. Right?
I got that Abu Dhabi money rolling in now. So
well, I doubt Abu Dhabi is playing. I doubt Abu Dhabi is paying for more than just Abu Dhabi. I mean, come on, really. Do you think it's I don't think it's paying for much more, do you?
Not much more, but
I think that's the question. And again, this goes back to a question the entire industry has had since day one. Are we ripping you off the couch? Are we the toughest day of your life? Can you be both? Right? This is the same conversation we've been having, which is why acquiring Mutter makes sense. And it won't be turned into the burpee fest and spear throw people think it's going to be, because Mutter is still an event for fun with your friends.
Agree. Any news on Mutter? Website down.
No. What did you just say about down?
The website is totally down now.
Well, it's been down.
No, it hasn't. It was open for a while. Like less than a week ago, it went down.
No, that's what I mean. But I mean in recent days. Well, listen, do you want to go to Germany?
I would love to go to Germany.
All right. Well, you can do a Tough Mudder right now, can't you, in Germany or the UK?
Yeah, it doesn't mean I want to do that.
What do you want?
Just tell me what you want.
Yeah, error 526, invalid SSL certificate. Now, back to the argument you made about we had the argument that I said tickets aren't on sale yet, and that's not the worst thing in the world. People will come back. This is a real bad look. I mean, they may as well have, why
don't you just redirect to Spartan.com at this point?
Well, I mean, that's like the construction logo with the guy with a shovel, like,
yeah.
like under construction. Like that's just
check back soon.
Yeah, that's definitely not as good. Yeah, if you want to go to Yorkshire or anywhere in the UK, we're in good shape. And America, hopefully, clearly our legal system is not as efficient.
I'm still holding on to my world's toughest Mudder entry for now.
Dude, I absolutely, listen, will we get a whole Tough Mudder season? Probably not. Are we going to get world's toughest? I would vote yes.
So speaking of 24-hour events, your friend Sherry dropped a little news on her most recent podcast. Cherie, sorry.
I'm usually the one who gets names wrong.
And I called her Cherie early in this show. I don't know what I was doing. I was trying to multitask. So, no Sweden for the Spartan Ultra World Championships in 2020.
Right.
And, quote, Cherie, we will be very happy with the decision.
Right. So that means 1, America. 2, maybe Killington. That's what I took it to mean. What did you take it to mean?
Well, she talked October, right? That was the timeline she gave.
Yes.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to make my prediction. You ready for this bold prediction? You know how like ESPN analysts make ridiculous predictions, but they make them seem like they're legit. When is World's Toughest Mudder?
November 9th.
October 26th-ish is Dallas, the Spartan Dallas Ultra. I am ready to say that the Spartan Ultra World Championship will be held in Dallas at the Dallas event shortly before World's Toughest Mudder, which will also be in Dallas.
So World's Toughest is the 7th and 8th at Texplex Park.
And
so you're predicting 2 weeks before that Spartan World Championship.
Yes.
It certainly would be a better event than Killington. I mean, do you really want to do
I don't think they go back to Killington, and I don't think they do Killington in October. I just don't think they can because there's the potential that Killington has snow there, and Killington's not going to give up a weekend of ski revenue for a Spartan race. I don't think they will.
Oh, that's a good point. It's actually right. Usually it's there in September or August.
Yep. Yeah, it's early to mid-September. So this year, Killington is September 12th. If you're going to do late October, they could be making snow there. Or they could go to somewhere in California. I've already walked back my prediction. I don't even know. Hell, do it in Dallas. Texas in October, perfect time to do it.
But you definitely like being right. Like you've called a couple other things that you were thrilled about. I forget.
Yeah, I mean it's tough being right all the time. Sometimes I have to mail in a few.
Wow.
Well, I have to be that guy on the show. You know how there's always the sensible guy, and then there's the semi-arrogant know-it-all. I think we know what role I'm playing.
Oh, okay. I love that I get to be the sensible guy. Speaking of which,
go.
did you see you watched the UFC fight?
I did.
And did you see Rogan shit-talking Stephen A., which I love?
I did not, but I also love that.
So Google it later, not now. But Stephen A. said a couple of really dumb things that prove he doesn't know anything about the sport, and Joe called him on it. And so Stephen A. gets on his Instagram and is like, I've been doing this 25 years. Blah, blah, blah. And
how dare he come at me?
Right. And Joe, I think Joe handled it really well. And said, you can't say what you say with a sports team, they just didn't come to fight, is you don't know the sport if you think that about somebody.
Right. That's not how it works. Even
McGregor chimed in. So you can, I'll send you a link to a video, but I thought you'd find that interesting. And yes, I know that's why he's popular, is because he takes that he knows people are going to shit on him for. But
right.
I don't like that. I don't watch him. I think I've said before, there's very few talking heads that I can even stand to watch. So speaking of which, I don't know if I've said this on the show yet, but Mike and Tony used to be the only show I would watch of two talking heads yelling. And now
last week.
Yeah. And now Wilbon is basically Stephen A. So he's losing me. I don't watch 1 second of Super Bowl coverage up until they turn until kickoff, right?
This was one of the first years where I was like, oh shit, it's 6:15. Click,
right.
Put the game.
I was on a run. I stopped to get a water before my lift came to pick me up because I just decided to when I do long runs sometimes it's just better to just fucking run because I hate out and backs. I think we talked about this too. And they were singing the national anthem, and I was like, all right, well. This actually leads right into my Super Bowl conversation, which I want to have.
Can I just before that, we're talking about boxing and whatnot. Mayweather announced Mayweather-McGregor 2 happening this year on his Instagram. Why didn't I hear about this? I thought this would have been bigger news.
Well, clearly you will be hearing about it now every day until the fight. And again, I don't want to, but you might. But I'm not. And I hate hype. Right? I'll watch the weigh-in on YouTube, right? And then I'll watch the fight via whoever fucking steals the fucking VPN or whatever. But I want to talk about the Super Bowl. So I go for a run. I come back. I'm not really invested. I was in it'd be nice if Kanye Coach Reed won one camp, but no really dog in the fight either way. Stacy's from San Francisco. That kind of would have made me root for the Niners, I think, if they were playing somebody else in the AFC, because I usually don't like to root against anybody that isn't the Patriots. But anyway, I'm rooting for Andy Reid and the Chiefs, and I was happy for a good ending, which is what we were all hoping for, right? But in this particular case, I got home, and little River was like, let's watch the Super Bowl. He was very excited. Now, either one of my boys at any time want to do anything, like let's watch X, it's probably going to last maybe 30 minutes, including like Marvel movies. Like they just don't have, you know what I mean? If they've already seen something, they're just like, they get bored. They're just, you know what I mean? Like if we go to the theater, obviously they'll watch it with me. But like, I think I told you, I was going to watch Mandalorian with Jackson, and he couldn't even wait for me. But then he wanted to watch episode 6 with me when I hadn't seen it. He lasted about 15 minutes. Anyway, they're actually watching like the game with me. And I was actually noticing like, this is nice. Like they're being affectionate with me and each other. They're getting along. This is very rare in my house, right?
Who are they cheering for?
River wanted the Chiefs.
Patrick Mahomes? Are they
yeah. Well, Jackson appreciates Mahomes, right? Like kids Jackson's age, everybody knows who Mahomes is and who Steph Curry is. They don't necessarily even watch whole games, but I think we've talked about this before, how like those kind of stars shine through to them, right? Making exciting moves and whatnot.
Yeah.
But River still doesn't even understand the game at all. Like he understands when they score and like the numbers change, but he doesn't even understand the game necessarily. But we're enjoying this time together. And then the halftime show comes on. And I'm not, I know that everything isn't made for me. I get that, dude. I totally get that, okay? I understand they're trying to get a wide audience, right? It's in Miami. Let's get to Latin artists, which, by the way, if you're in Atlanta, is a big fuck you, because when Atlanta was announced, we were like, oh my God, we have so amazing artists. And what did we get? Fucking Bruno Mars again, right? I think they snuck in Big Boy for a minute or something, but it was like, we got shit on for that. And so here comes these two artists, and they get out there, and I am not a prude, Josh. I'm not a fucking prude, right?
What?
I understand that, like, if Katy Perry comes on and she has giant hooters, I'm probably going to see some cleavage when she's singing, right?
Yep.
These two fucking women with 100 background dancers behind them, because that's what you do when you try to distract people who don't really have that much fucking talent, okay? Just shook their ass for 30 fucking minutes. It never ended, okay? And I, at one point, am now uncomfortable in front of my two young sons because of the fucking ass shots that went on forever. Am I insane, Josh Chace?
How dare you, Matt? How dare you speak about these women who are 40 plus and 50 years old, and they are out there slaying it? How dare you criticize them for doing that? They were dancing on a pole, Matt. So what? That doesn't mean they're porn stars or strippers. That just means they like to do workouts at some studio where women pretend to be porn stars and strippers. Yeah, listen, events like this are going to be over-sexualized. Events like this are going to be intentionally controversial. I'm not saying they went out to be controversial, but the halftime show is nothing less than just a way to get people talking about things on Monday morning, right? The game is one thing, and people will always talk about the game. But the halftime show is always about getting people talking. And if anything, people have decided to talk. Now, if I was sitting in a room with a couple of kids, and remind me of River and Jackson's ages again.
10 and 6. 10 and 6.
10 and 6. Yeah, uncomfortable is definitely one word I would use. And if you think...
And by the way, I'm the guy that, like, cusses in front of his kids. So right. I'm not a fucking prude.
Right. And there's one thing about language, and there's another thing about sexuality. And when I was a kid, the way my parents explained this to me is like, never be in a rush to grow up, because once you grow up and you have those experiences, you can never be young again. And what I mean by that is like, think about a 6-year-old sitting in a room watching J-Lo literally slide at the camera with her fucking crotch just right front and center, right? Everything else, shaking your ass, Latin dancing, like knock yourself out. That's fine. But these scenes of like literally just zooming in on the crotch shot and this ridiculous outfit where you're just obviously half naked for you know, the look of it all. Sure, you know what? You can have performances that are there's a word I want to use and it's not coming to my brain. Provocative, right? I guess that's the word I want to use. And then you can have performances that are overly sexualized just for the sake of being sexualized. And yeah, if I was in a room with kids, I would have been extremely uncomfortable. I was in a room with myself and Molly's dad, and I was sort of uncomfortable and barking at the screen.
I mean, and here's the thing, again, so people don't think I'm the just dumbest, unwoke white man in the world. I can appreciate that Latin dancing can be sexual in nature. And even that is like just shaking your hips generically, even though it is quote unquote sexy, is not necessarily just shoving it in my face. But at one point, they were wearing clothes and then went sort of an assless chaps look. And just these giant asses were just at me constantly. I mean, just, again, like a barrage of ass, right? And then whatever the fuck Shakira was doing with her mouth that's been memed 100 times, it was just so, and again, the songs aren't even good. Like if Britney and Madonna are out there doing that, I think Britney and Madonna did that at like the MTV Music Awards or whatever. At least Britney and Madonna like have songs that like I like. It's like, like I know I was waiting to like, okay, a lyric I recognize, and it's like, oh, I guess that's Jenny from the Block. Like it just wasn't good, and people are saying it was one of the best ones.
Well, of course they are, because if nothing else, and I'm going to target a certain group here, women have to raise women up. So to them, it's like, you can do no wrong, girl. You fucking go. You're killing it. You're 50-year-old. Oh, my God. Like, sure, she looks great. And so would just about anybody else that had a live-in trainer, chef, nutritionist, all that. But
nanny,
and by the way,
nannies.
A ton of plastic surgery too. Like, let's not pull any punches here. But you're right. 2 white guys talking about girls dancing at the Super Bowl. We can't do that because that's just not very woke nowadays.
But the other thing that got put up in the Discord is I know that they're trying to be woke, but at the same token, you know, don't you think I know this got brought up in the Discord, that there are an awful lot of middle Americans going, who are these women and why is that not the American flag? Like, don't you think there was an awful lot of that?
Yeah, and you know, it was weird that she's standing in front of it's not weird that she's standing in front of a Puerto Rican flag because J-Lo is Puerto Rican, right? I think I'm right on that. It was weird when they started singing Born in the USA.
Well, don't even.
And it was also a little more weird that they're there shaking their asses with a cavalcade of like 9-year-old kids dancing next to them.
Right. Well,
like,
now it's fine because there's kids and they're saying Born in the USA.
Yeah, so it definitely was just odd. It was odd. Like, I know why they do these things.
After Janet, right? After Janet, they went super safe. They went with just like the biggest stars in the world for years. It was Bruce. It was U2. It was Madonna. It was Paul McCartney. Prince, everybody loves that one, especially now that he's dead. Although he's risque in his own way. But I know this is not original. I know this is all people are talking about today, and you can hate us for talking about this. But I have to say that, like, my wife sometimes gets offended by stuff. And my wife will tell you she does lean on the prudish side, certainly more than me and certainly most people or most women. Sometimes she'll point out something, and I'll be like, oh, I guess you're right. That is a little wonky because I don't see it in my own bias. But this one was just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and if there's any less of a hot take that these 2 girls were just over-sexualized and unnecessary, it was the complete opposite. Like, I've seen a million times the blog post this morning that's like, I loved it. Everybody called it inappropriate and sexualized. I saw 2 empowered, talented, unapologetic moms like just knock it off. Like, great. So, okay, you're going to pile on and get some likes for your stupid website or whatever.
Right. So here's the thing. I'm speaking of piling on, right? I'm on the record already for, faux Americana, right? Faux veterans, faux black people, like all the fake bullshit that companies do to get clicks or likes or an excuse to put out a fucking discount post, right? So I believe I contacted you after Kobe passed, and everybody from, a fucking, LinkedIn thought leader looking for likes to Spartan to everybody, like, you have a fucking thing to say about Kobe, right? Is just disgusting to me. And it really is the same as every holiday. And hey, for the Super Bowl, why don't we do this ad or this discount or this like tie-in? And like, listen, if ORM ever does this, please call me out. Maybe I'll have a blind spot one of these years and I'll do it. I'll do something not thinking that I'm doing the thing that everybody's doing. But I can take it if I do. Sorry, you just disappeared. There we go. But yeah, like I heard it said perfectly on, I was in a hurry to listen to my favorite podcast this morning, which is Bill Simmons, which is what?
The rewatchables?
Rewatchables is, but there isn't, but the post Sunday one, which is Bill Simmons and Cousin Sal. And he was talking about how his son was doing it. His son's like Jackson's age. And he's doing, he called it the RIP Instagram thing, which is basically what it is, right? He says his son is doing it not just for people that die, but a year ago who died. So now you can do, and Sal said, right, it's the safest post there is. Is there, like, you're guaranteed to get likes. You know what I mean? So, if you have a real fucking connection to Hobie or not, Hobie. To Kobe or not, and if you don't and you posted it to get likes, go fuck yourself. See, I've become you now. I've become you. I've become the...
No, you've always had that stance, though. You've always had that stance, and I respect you for standing by it.
But I used to not just say fuck you for it, but now that's where I'm at today.
That's whatever. That's where we're at today. You want to tear down some more women?
Can I answer that question?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay, go ahead. Go for
it. So a screenshot was posted into the Discord today.
Oh,
by the way, if you're not there, the Discord website is bit.ly/OCR chat. Why you're not there, I don't know, because you know who is there? Newly crowned Spartan Crow Nicholas Riker is now in the Discord. So welcome to that guy.
Oh, do you want to? We might have to hold the pro team till next time.
I'm not going to talk about the pro team.
Well, I was, because apparently you and I are the only two not on it.
Oh, okay. Well, it might be in my spam email.
There's a new email that's been going around. But let's also in the Discord, you've got a Rubot, so you're guaranteed to know things. Because like myself, I don't have notifications on for Spartan all the time, but a Rubot tells me. OCRWC bot, I don't know what his problem is, but a Rubot.
He broke. He's fixed again. You rebooted him like C-3PO.
You're gonna have inside jokes that we talk about on the show. I mean, if you're a listener of this show and you're not in the fucking Discord, we don't know what your fucking problem is.
Everybody that joins says, "Hey, I've been listening for so long. I figured I'd finally give this thing a try," and everybody loves it, and they're all there. So
except for the new Reddit members, I don't trust any of those fucking people.
Yeah, well, we'll keep them on a short leash.
Keep them on a fucking short leash, kid.
So drama corner a little bit here. That's gonna die. You have a great vein that pops out of your forehead when you cough like that.
People say, I love it when Matt starts laughing so hard, and then he coughs so much he starts to die. That's a favorite segment on this program, apparently.
That's a great one.
Ooh, okay, go ahead. I'm crying.
All right. So somebody posted a screenshot from so Spartan maintains all kinds of Facebook groups, right? There's the Northeast Spartans, the West Coast Spartans, Spartan Kids, Spartan Ultra. There's also a Spartan Women Facebook group, and it's got 10 or 12,000 members there. And it's for women only, which makes a ton of sense, right? So they posted something today. Let me just read this post first, and then I'll give you a little bit of the background.
Okay.
So Spartan posted, "We're excited to announce that we will be handing the Spartan Women Facebook group over to its founder, Perry Goldstein." If you're not familiar with Perry Goldstein, she's Spartan Chickie on Instagram. "From its creation, this page has served as a hub of inspiration for women from all walks of life. It has become a place where you can come together both on and off the course to celebrate your diversity, grit, camaraderie, and with that in mind, we want this group to be in the hands of the community as it continues to flourish across the world. While it is no longer an official Spartan page, we're of course here to support Perry and the Spartan women everywhere. Thank you all for being such an important part of the Spartan community."
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Do you think she wanted to be outed? I don't even know that was her name.
Perry? Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that's her name.
No, they don't. She's Spartan Chickie, or on Facebook, she's Perry Lauren.
Whatever.
I don't know. I just thought that was sort of
semi-public facing Facebook group. So.
I don't know. It just seemed interesting that they called her Perry Goldstein. They're trying to out her as a Jew. I don't know.
Not say that. So here's the background on this announcement. So years and years ago, Perry started this group on Facebook as Spartan Women, just as a way to bring together women and then form relationships, and then inevitably, ostracize women who aren't part of the inside group and then kick them out. Probably, I'm just assuming that's what happens. So they essentially gave her the group back because she wanted it back after giving it to Spartan. So Perry gave this group to Spartan. Spartan controlled it, did all their announcements in there like they do in every other group. And then Spartan just gave it back to them in a very public way, which was very odd. So what's your thoughts on that, Maddie?
Sorry, I'm getting a very important text right now. Well, once upon a time, I know she was an ambassador, and apparently at one point, the ambassadors had too much control. People who were always on the social team, and so they were removed. Her and the other Spartan people, Spartan Chickie, Spartan Face, Spartan Lipstick, all the different Spartan girls with various IG channels, right? And then so they're like, "Oh, you're all banished from the land," and so I thought that had something to do with it.
Spartan Lipstick, still available on Instagram if you want to go take it. Yeah, it's just, my whole thing is like, in a community where the point is to raise people up, right? So cliche. The point is, does it really matter who runs a Facebook page? Like,
well,
if you can't get your message across for one reason or another, what does it matter who's in charge?
Well, if you're going to control the post like Spartan does, then yes, right? If you can't just moderate like a normal moderation group, and not treat people like, oh, well, we have to approve every single thing you write in this community group. You're not really a community, right?
Right. Like you're an exclusive group.
Well, it's just like, again, to me, it defeats the purpose of a Facebook group. It defeats the purpose. A Facebook group is about letting the community speak. And yes, if people break standards, you either warn them once or don't warn them and just boot them right away. But not every single post has to get approved, because then it's just, yeah.
But the weird part about it is, like, every post ends up getting approved anyway. Like, how many times do we see in, like, the Northeast Spartans a post from somebody that says, like, can you believe how stupid Spartan is that they're bringing the world championship to Abu Dhabi? Like, why would you approve that post? I don't understand it. In reality, it's because there's thousands of posts submitted every single day, and to go through them on a one-by-one basis is a waste of somebody's time.
Right. So why have it at all? Why not just, like, let the group be the group?
Right. Why not go the opposite direction of approve everything by default and get rid of the extra, the other
right
stuff?
Well, because they don't want you to promote other groups, right, or other pages or other whatever. So if somebody goes on there and goes, listen, people do this in my group all the time, right, in my running the ATL group, and it tells you so-and-so has posted their first post, and they don't fucking introduce themselves, and they don't do anything but just post their fucking race, I don't reach out to that person because you clearly are a fucking idiot. If you had a clue, you would write the admin first, or you would do the standard, hey, I'm not sure if this is okay, I'm new here, but here's my race, or here's my fucking chiropractic clinic, and I thought I'd post it here. Please let me know if it's not okay. Like, that's what a normal human does. If a normal human doesn't, and they just fucking post their stupid chiropractic clinic or their stupid race without ever any context, it says delete and ban this user. Yup, you're a fucking spam fucking cocksucker. So anyway, Spartan can be the same way. And if someone posts, hey, I got a Savage discount, and you want to just write them and go, hey, you can't do that, that would be a better way to do it and not make it feel like a fucking, what do you call it? Police state.
Ooh.
But I guess I'd have to ask her why she gave it to them in the first place. She just thought it would be good to like let them run it.
Shrug shoulder emoji. I guess what I'm trying to say is look for my Spartan Men Facebook group coming soon to a Facebook
please.
page.
Oh my God, Josh, you're gonna get fucking 4-0'd if that happens. You don't want to do that.
I'm kidding, man.
Oh, okay, good. Because that's coming. Why can't we have a Spartan Men group? That's coming. Hang on.
There's your notification invite.
Well, if you know me, you know I never have any notifications. What? Does this work? This is my buddy Harley.
Sprint lap winner, 2019 Harley.
Yes. He sent me. We had this whole argument in Seattle. No, in Utah, because iPhone, right? AirDrop, done, right? He's got a fucking Android phone, and we could not get these pics to come through. So then he tried Google Photos, and that didn't work either. Like, you'd get it, but then you'd open it and download it. It would still be big. It was a fucking mess. Anyway, so now there's like 100 photos in here, but he just sent me something that looks like he was trying to send to somebody else.
Yeah, why we live in a day and age where you can't transmit photos from one device to another because you bought different brand names is beyond me. But meanwhile, Europe is going to force everybody to use the same fucking charger because they think that's like unlawful.
Dude,
maybe solidify software platforms before you solidify hardware.
Hang on a second.
Hang on.
Real ID. Are you familiar?
Yes.
Okay. Tell the good folks what Real ID is.
It's like you have essentially verified your ID with a government entity through multiple forms of ID. When you go get a driver's license, all you need is like a social security card. There's no like really verification that person's you, like sort of is. Now when you go, you have to do Real ID, which is not only do you have to provide a social security card, but you also have to have a backup like secondary photo ID, like a passport or another government issued ID. So redundancy at its finest.
Well, it's
just a ploy to keep the black man down from voting is what it is.
I was in Michigan. Where the fuck was I?
You were in Michigan recently.
I was in Michigan. That's right. I had a layover that was wrong and drove and blah, blah, blah. We talked about that already. But in the airport announcement, which I heard a few times while I was getting my rental car to drive the 3 hours to go to Chicago High Rocks, I heard, hey, effective blah, 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 you're going to need a Real ID. A license isn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, just this state? That's weird. Don't have that in my state. Haven't heard it anywhere else. Then I got an email from Clear because I'm a Clear passenger. And if you live in Atlanta and you don't have Clear, you need to get it. If you have pre-check, your line is just as long as the regular line. And I guarantee it. In Atlanta, Clear, I'm in at the most 10 minutes, sometimes even less. It's awesome. And I go by all the pre-check people like this. Clear's the way to go. Anyhow, I got an email from Clear saying, if you're going to soon need this to use our thing, which makes sense because it's more national. Now, here's the thing. I said, here's the thing.
Everybody drink. Not you, Matt.
In 2012, I had to get my license renewed. And it was like 5 years is $20, 8 years is like $40. I was like, 8 years? Fucking sweet. 2020. Like that's so far away, right? So here it is. And so it's time for me to get a new license. If I didn't have to do that, I think I'd be bummed out, right? Like, oh, I got to go to the fucking DMV again. I just went. So yeah, I'm going to go get a real ID. But what? I guess they can't put it out nationally. It has to go through all the states first.
Yeah. And yeah, that's the New Hampshire licenses now. You have to do real ID. Like I got grandfathered in because I got mine right before. But in order to get your license now, you have to do real ID.
Like 11 people live in New Hampshire. It's not very difficult. They could do all of New England and knock it out in a day. Come on, dude. It's a bunch of tiny states.
True. So now, like when you go from Dallas back to Massachusetts, I can't use my license at the airport. I have to show my passport in that case. So why don't you just make everybody get a passport?
That seems like the move, right?
Right. You would think so. But
all right,
I guess not.
Well, I don't know if we're going to have time to dissect our favorite Super Bowl ads, but we got to talk about the new Marvel stuff. Josh's phone was blowing up last night. Marvel shit's going on, and we're like, what's going on here? So what do you want to tell us about all this stuff appearing on Disney Plus?
Well, we already knew about all this stuff. So they talked about, well, it's because you're not in the know, Matt. So they talked about WandaVision, which they call it WandaVision, which is it Wanda and Vision, or is it WandaVision? Like Wonka Vision? Is that what they're going for? So they gave us this teaser, the first shots of WandaVision, those two and their lives together. And they showed flash us back through different moments in time. At one point, it looked like Wanda was in the Brady house, and we got an old school Scarlet Witch outfit that she was wearing. Looked like she was wearing it as like part of a joke, and then it like Vision was like dressed as this 50s house husband. Very, very odd. But I'm assuming it's going to be a lot of jumps through time, just the way it works. We saw Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Those two are going to have, I think that is going to be a great buddy cop show. So that'll be out. And then we got our first look at Loki, who's going to have his own series. Started filming like 10 days ago, and you already have at least one line from Loki that they were like quick to get in there. I'll burn this place to the ground. So more series. Disney Plus, their biggest issue was they didn't have anything ready to go after The Mandalorian. They were like, we're going to bank on this and then hope that people watch our movie content. That'll get us 30 million subscribers. And then, oops, now we got to wait a year until we get more content. So most of this stuff is not coming out until 2021, some of it this year. But
so how do you think, guy who I rely on for this kind of information, because you're such a fucking nerd and you work in an industry that's tangentially related, how do you think the biggest wigs, the people who run the world, decide
the Illuminati?
Theater versus tube? Because I remember saying this to you even after Endgame, like, what's next? And we talked a little bit about this, but how do you think they decide, like, can they, like, I forget the actor's name who's Loki, but it's like, all right, we can afford him for a TV show, but not, we can't tie down fucking, I can't think of the actor's names. Hulk for 2 years. He's not going to want to do that.
Right. I don't know. I think the actors and actresses start to see a little bit of the benefit of planting themselves on streaming services. The biggest issue with having all this stuff on streaming services is the segmentation. And when I think about total revenue, right? So Avengers Endgame, easiest example, $2 billion worldwide, right? I don't know, costs probably $400 million to make. They make their money back fivefold, and everybody gets paid out, and then you walk away. When I think streaming services, I think recurring revenue stream, but harder working in order to keep that stream going, because now you have to have content all the time. Whereas you could just spend 2 years making a movie and 2 years worth of investment and then pay out and boom. So I don't really know, to be honest. I think I think Marvel is probably going to be further in between of big name movies. Like the last 10 years, we had all these movies just twice a year for 10 years. Now I think it's going to be a little different. And I think a lot of the movies that are going to start coming out, like the Eternals and the Inhumans and all this stuff, that's not going to resonate as well as like Captain America, Iron Man, right? Black Widow. So I think the streaming services are going to be kind of the complementary support of all of those. And then
but now that they've created this legit universe, don't they assume that it's going to keep finding new generations like Star Wars does? Like even if they didn't come out with the 3 new Star Warses, like people would still want to watch those first 3, and you can still sell characters, and you know what I mean, even the middle 3, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
don't they bank on like that, like a 15-year-old or a 10-year-old showing a 7-year-old brother, or however that goes, that people are going to just keep finding? Because most of those movies like are decent. There's a couple of shitty ones, right? But like people are going to find those, right? And they're not going to look outdated or bad, right?
Yeah,
like,
but that just
like the original Iron Man, you could watch today and be like, "That's a good movie."
Oh yeah, that thing ages perfectly fine. I think the thing with that though is most of those people, you've already cashed their check, so you're not going to get money from that again unless you're showing it on like Sci-Fi or USA or whatever. So that's just more of a supportive, lead into whatever next thing you're going to do. So sure, you love Iron Man or you love Harry Potter, right? So you're going to go out and watch the new Harry Potter stuff when it comes out, or anything with J.K. Rowling's name on it, you're going to go watch. But you've already cashed those checks. You can't continue to make money off those, so you got to make money off the new stuff.
Did you hear
people worth a lot more than us are paid to think?
But that's why I'm asking for your opinion. Have you heard of the new Harry Potter one?
Nope.
Penis of Fire.
There's a topical cream for that, I'm sure.
All right. Well, I think we should quickly go over a couple more of these Super Bowl ads. I hadn't seen them all because, as I said, I wasn't glued to my television. It really has worked, though. I mean, even though I know I could watch them on YouTube, typically, commercial time is time to go to the fridge, and I found myself not going to the fridge or going to pee at commercials. It was like, well, this I can actually watch. I can get up during a play. They'll show the fucking play again. So I didn't see them all. I had to hop online to look at them, and now I lost that link I had. God damn it. I'll go to my history. Hang on a second, because I want to, or if you want to mention the ones now quickly before I get to them.
I mean, I'll give you the 2 or 3 off the top of my head that I liked.
I think that's a good test though too, right? Because it's off the top of your head.
Right. I like the Lil Nas X and Sam Neill.
Yes.
Where they were doing the shootout.
Not Sam Neill, but yes.
Sam Elliott, sorry. Sam Elliott.
Okay.
Where they were doing the shootout, like when his fucking mustache did the wave. That killed me. Bill Murray's Groundhog Day one.
Yes, big fan of that one.
Probably the best one, I think.
Probably.
The Tide one with the weird dude from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia was not like, was it last year where Tide was like, is this a commercial for chicken? No, it's a Tide ad. Like that was really funny. And then they tried to replicate it, and like normally happens, it does not come out as well. Remind me of some of the others. Oh, how about the Fast and the Furious being the first commercial of the Super Bowl? A little weird, I thought.
I actually didn't see that one.
Yeah, it was like the very first one.
Okay.
The Alexa one was also very good too. The one with Ellen.
Alexa one was good. When they started showing that multiple times, I'm like, oh, we're out of ads. Like that's always a good, right? We're out of the new. Yeah. We're out of new.
It's like just loop those bitches.
So
I meant the ads, not Ellen and her wife. Please don't yell at me.
No, of course. Are you a Rick and Morty fan? Did you like that one?
Nah, it was all right. I don't watch it, but.
Okay, let's go for trying to pull on your heartstrings. Old man asking Google to remember stuff.
Oh yeah, that was oof. That I welled up a little. That got me. That was a good one.
That was an eye roll for me.
Yeah, well, it's because you have a heart that's 2 sizes too small.
This website, techradar.com, it said, depending on the kind of person you are, ads like this will either have you in tears or just make you roll your eyes.
I thought it was a good one.
I can cry at an ad. That one didn't work.
How about the Budweiser commercials the last couple of years with like the dog that comes running back home to the guy? Like, did that get you at all?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I was expecting another like heart-wrenching Budweiser one, and instead we got, I don't know if anybody caught this, we got a Budweiser commercial where they flip-topped a fucking spinny bottle of beer. You could have just twisted it off. Instead, you had to give it the old flip.
How about Dash Lane password thing?
I don't know if I saw that.
No, that one was actually pretty decent. Audi Let It Go.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But like, am I supposed to know who that girl is? She's not the princess.
It's Arya from Game of Thrones. It's Maisie Williams.
Okay, don't know who that is. Okay. Big thumbs down for Smat Pack by Hyundai. They're stealing the bit from Jimmy Fallon in the first place, right? And then the girl is amazing. What's her name?
Rachel Dratch.
Chris Evans, phenomenal. Krasinski, not at all. Like, not even, like, horrible. A bad version of a guy doing that.
All right.
So many other Boston actors they could have gotten for that.
Also, are we not going to point out that they just stole our bit? Like, that was our bit.
No, but we stole that bit from Jimmy Fallon.
That's true, I guess. No, Seth Meyers.
Not Jimmy Fallon, the other one.
Seth Meyers.
You
unpacked it?
All right, I think that's the only things worth talking about.
All right.
The rest are stupid. There
wasn't one killer commercial like the last couple of years.
Oh, how about I want to say this, and then we'll let you go. So Cheetos had one for Can't Touch This. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I hadn't seen it, but I just watched it online today in preparing for this call, and it made me think like, oh, that's why MC Hammer was at the Super Bowl. So I was at the Super Bowl. Many of you watched my exciting videos, and the reason it's so exciting is because you can see, like I saw Lil Nas X. I did not get a selfie with him, but I probably could have if I was committed, because he was like getting these interviews done, and they just took a long time. Because I've kind of got my move down to a science, which I can maybe explain on the next call. But you saw I talked to Dana White, Katie Couric. These are not small people, Josh.
No, that was big time. The Dana White one was, I was surprised that guy wasn't like, you come to me, invite only.
No. Dana White was the hardest one to get. I'll explain that in a minute, but only if you stop looking at things, because I need you to pay attention.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Okay. Laser focused.
So this is what I've learned in these situations. People are getting interviewed, right? And you go up, you see so-and-so sitting there, right? Like I saw Gary Vee, and I'm like, hey, can I have any time with Gary Vee? And they're like, they give you one of three answers. They either give you not a chance. This is the last one. We're out of here. We're super booked. Not a chance. The other one is, who are you with again? And then you answer. And then they say, maybe, give me your number. They're never going to call. And another is, yeah, when can we plug you in? Or you know what? We got an opening. We can do it right now. And depending on the level of star, right? Depending on how that goes, right? So, and some people that you just want to do a quick selfie with, you can do that, and they're really easygoing about it. And some people are not so easygoing about it, right? So I've learned you have the fucking phone ready on video, and you go, can I do a quick thing for social media? And they say, sure, right? So some people are super great. Katie Couric, okay? National treasure, is perfectly fun. Dare I say flirting with me a little bit? Really good, right? You watch it for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. MC fucking Hammer, okay? MC Hammer, who hasn't done anything relevant in 100 years, I went up to, I said, hey, man, how's it going? Can I do a thing real quick? And I put the phone up, and he's like, oh, it's video? No, man. And then he like ducked out of the way. And I didn't even air it because it showed like how fucking lame that guy was. And then that's the reason I wanted to talk to you about it, because it's like, oh, that's why you were even there. You had a Super Bowl ad. So I guess that's why you're walking around. But can you believe I got big time by MC Hammer when fucking Katie Couric and Dana White were fucking good enough to talk to me?
Do you think the Cheetos commercial paid off some of his debts.
But come on, dude. Like,
It's MC Hammer, man. He's big time. Come on.
so here's the Dana White thing. So I would have never approached Dana White. Like I'm a little intimidated, and I don't know that much, right? So
Right.
I took a picture, and I sent it to Dario. I go, Dario, your boy Dana's here. Dario used to work with ORM, huge UFC fan. He goes, you want me to give you a question to ask him? And I go, sure. And he goes, ask him what's the better fight, Conor Khabib or Conor? What's the other one?
I don't remember.
The other big fight that's about to happen.
Mayweather?
No,
Diaz? I don't know.
hang on. Conor Khabib or Conor Ferguson?
Right.
So, and then he adds, if money doesn't matter. So I go up, and he's not just got a regular PR guy. He's got a legit fucking bouncer guy.
Oh, yeah.
But because I've done this now a lot, I kind of know my plan. This thing is essentially a labyrinth of tables. And depending on which way you go, you can sort of cut people off. So I'm like, I'm just going to go for it. So I get to him and I go, hey, man, can I ask you a quick question? He's like, sure. And I ask him the question, and his answer was like, he paused that I thought maybe I asked it wrong. Because he was like, Conor Khabib or Conor Ferguson. And then he gave a super political answer, which apparently is what he does. Like, he's just being a promoter and isn't going to say which one was better or worse.
He seems like a relatively straight shooter, though, which is interesting for a person in his position. You don't get that from, like, the commissioners or whatever the hell he is.
Right, but the fact that he stopped, he didn't say, get the fuck away from me. He stopped to talk to me. So, and by the way, I get those people are doing their jobs. Their jobs are to keep the person moving. I get. Just if I'm ever trying to interview Hunter and it's anywhere in the public, we're getting bombarded. So I get it. But some people can be nice. Some people can be dicks. And MC Hammer was a dick. So there you go.
All right, bro.
That was a great episode. I laughed a lot. We're going to get hate mail. It's great.
We didn't even talk about this Trail World Championship.
All right, we have to save it. And my Bengals story from 1989. We'll save that story as well.
That's what they call a teaser, folks. We'll catch you next week.